Oh my goodness, the times they are a changing. But I'm ready to gamble on all you guys because I am back from AEW Double or Nothing, and I am no longer with WrestleZone, but I am here. This is Dominic DeAngelo of WrestlingInc.com, and with my degenerate brother, none other than Marcus DeAngelo of AdFreeShows.com. Marcus, how are you today?
Dom, this is confusing.
Confusing.
You've got the WrestleZone up above us. You're talking about Wrestling Inc. I'm with
What's
Ad
going
Free.
on?
What is happening?
What's going on? If you guys aren't aware, I have actually left my post at WrestleZone.com, and I am now working at Wrestling Inc. But that does not mean that I am abandoning this show. As a matter of fact, this show is alive and well. And wow, do we have a lot to talk about, Marcus? Is it not an insane amount of news for AEW going down right now, huh?
Wow. Just wow. Dominic,
shit.
You are cutting this one short tonight, are you not? You've got to get out of here at like 8?
A little before 8 because I'm covering NXT tonight. Well, hell,
here's poor Nesha saying she missed us. We missed you too, Nesha. Welcome to the chat. Yes. Here's Nesha saying, she can't do it. And now you're bailing, Dom.
I'm not bailing. I am not bailing. I'm here. I am not. I'm here. Am I not? So, Marcus,
for the moment,
you're very insulting. I was there at Double or Nothing, and then shit went crazy too on Dynamite, and then it went even more crazy on Rampage. Holy shit, Marcus! Where should we start? I think maybe we should just start at the end. No, let's start at CM Punk. Not relinquishing. He's holding on to the title, but he is now injured and he cannot compete. So therefore, we are going to have him an eliminator, a battle royal, and then an eliminator tournament take place. So, are you aware of all this?
I am. So yeah, it sounds interesting. I saw the justification from Tony Khan online as to what makes Jon Moxley the number one contender. Kind of felt a little bit out of nowhere, especially because he's been doing like the whole like in a group thing. And then I think he's posted about Anthony Ogogo having like a similar record or something. I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, it's we talked about it a little bit off air, Dom. What do you think about this whole CM Punk just won, and then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm on the shelf.
It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. It is like, but that's the name of the game and the name of the business. People get hurt, and it ain't ballet. And I think Punk delivered a very, very good promo that's like forthright and from the heart about him wanting to. The wheels aren't off, and he's planning to come back and make a fight for it. And I think that really charged people up. And him adding to the fact that he also put over talent leaving, saying that there's a lot of people deserving back there that should get this title and that earn this title shot. And he's like, I don't want to keep it from people. So I think it is bittersweet, but this is somebody's opportunity to kind of make the most of it. What I would ultimately like to see is maybe somebody not like a big name suddenly get the title, instead of somebody moving forward. Overall, yeah, Marcus, let me get your thoughts on this, and then we can continue.
Well, it's injuries happen, and it is part of the game. I'm seeing where Benjamin A. Jones here is saying if he's hurt, he should let go of the belt. Tired of the interim champions. I understand the sentiment, but I do think that it would devalue the belt to have CM Punk just win it and be like, hang on to it while I go get surgery. So I think that him holding on to the belt, or in storyline saying, hey, I'm still the champion, I'm just stepping away, sort of a thing. I think it's fine. Really what this is all going to be based around is how Tony Khan handles it with the booking. And, initially, Dom, I had said, well, it should be somebody like Kenny Omega. When you and I were discussing it offline, I said, it should be Kenny Omega, because people want that dream match, and that's what we could work toward now, where, Kenny Omega's got a claim to the belt. And then all of a sudden CM Punk is back and he's like, no, wait, that's my belt. So that could be interesting. But then, Dom, you made a pretty good point. And it's a point that might actually make for a good transition.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into that transition yet. But I do want to say, why wouldn't MJF, if everything's copacetic on that front, You know, from the way it seems, a lot of this is getting more turned into a work, and everything. People are seeming to be a little bit more on the same page. Would it not make sense to have MJF win that title and then go on a run? And then you added a little bit another layer to it by saying like, hey, they're 1-1 with one another, and it would make sense for Punk and MJF to ultimately collide. And if Punk is healthy enough, why not make that comeback at All Out in Chicago?
It does make sense, provided that the relationship with MJF is actually what it appears to be. Here's the deal, and I know you're not ready to talk about it yet. Maybe we should hold off.
Yes. Okay. So we'll touch
Dominic Rosalie Carlo says Tony is ass.
Define what you mean.
I love Tony Schiavone. Rosalie, how dare you?
That's right. He's a man of the people.
All right, let's see what else we got going on. RJ, our pal from
Wrestling Rant.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. And he's with Reffing It Up with Brian Hebner. He says this is the perfect time for AEW to ride the guy that's hot right now in MJF and have MJF beat Punk when he's healthy enough. So pretty much to your sentiment, Dominic. Yeah, I agree. You know, it's if you go Punk or if you go Kenny Omega, you really can't go wrong, in my opinion, one way or the other. Because people have been dying to see Kenny Omega come back. Not just come back, but if you were to come back and instantly be back and, you know, holding the world title, I think it could be really interesting. And then, as I said, you know, when CM Punk is back in action, it's like, hey, both of these guys have a legitimate claim to the belt.
Well, you know, the way it's set up right now is okay, there's the Battle Royal happening on Wednesday. The winner of that Battle Royal faces Jon Moxley, and the winner of that goes on to face either Tanahashi or Goto at Forbidden Door. Now, how that all lays out is like, okay, where's Goto coming from that he deserves a title shot almost, or like to be in this mix? But I understand that you can't just give Tanahashi a match at Forbidden Door. Like, it's kind of got to be earned in a way. I mean, I'd want to see maybe somebody like, I don't know, somebody that's like really high up on the card, like an Okada or Ospreay. Could you imagine Tanahashi and Ospreay going at it to see who gets the shot at Forbidden Door? Like something like that would be very cool. I don't think Ospreay's hurt. Maybe he is hurt. I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know. But either way, I want to see somebody out of nowhere win this Battle Royal. Like, I'm not against MJF winning it. Like, I'm not against MJF taking it, but ultimately, I would want to see somebody like it. Now, I'm throwing this out there. Somebody's just like an Agogo that you have not seen in a long time, or that has kind of been under the radar that they haven't really pushed, but you can just put them right there and be like this unexpected underdog out of nowhere star to come and make a title run or go for the title. You have them compete against Mox. Maybe you win against Mox. I think that now that you've lost Punk as like the headline star for Forbidden Door, the options are kind of open for you to kind of experiment a little bit, you know? But it's a matter of positioning that person right. And it's kind of what we were talking about before, Marcus, where it's like, hey, and I wanted to ask Tony Khan this in the scrum, but we just went too long during the media scrum. This was going to be my question to him, was honing in on certain talent and focusing in on, like, you have this surplus of talent. You got to hone in on it to make these select stars seem more important. So if you're able to do that with a particular star and moving into Forbidden Door, I'm all for, like, I don't want to say a no name, but an unexpected name to come into the forefront at Forbidden Door and face either the Tanahashi or Goto. Marcus, what are your kind of thoughts on that? Battle Royal stuff, all that mixing together here.
I mean, my biggest thought is, why Battle Royal? Battle Royals suck.
I'm kind of over the Battle Royals, honestly. I am.
I mean, by and large, they're awful, are they not? It's, you know, WWE figured out the formula with the Royal Rumble, where it's like they have the, you know, it's timed out as far as people coming in, so it's not like this giant schmoz and you don't know where to focus or look. I mean, it's they suck. So I'm not crazy about that idea. You know, I wish, honestly, I'm more of a tournament guy. And I've heard actually Conrad Thompson talk about how tournaments aren't good because it's, you know, it's like a basketball game. You could just tune in to like the last part of it to really, and you're still essentially getting the same thing. But I don't know. My argument would be that tournaments, you know, they're single elimination, so it's more like the NFL playoffs, where hey, you have the opportunity now to go for the biggest title in the sport in theory, and it's if you lose once on the way there, it's over. So to me, that's why I like tournaments.
So I like tournaments too, and I maybe said this before on the show. I'm kind of like a low key sucker for battle royals, just simply because Raw 1993 when Razor Ramon won the battle royal against Rick Martel. So I've kind of always had a soft spot for battle royals, but I think both under the AEW banner have been a little well worn. So like we've had a lot of tournaments. We just had a tournament. We've had several tournaments. So it's just like and then battle royals, I think it kind of adds to what you're saying about it just being like, okay, yeah, they kind of don't work, and it's just a lot of people.
It's a clusterfuck, and you're asking to get hurt in a battle royal because you can't really be looking behind you. There's guys falling down all around you. You're just it's you're opening the door for somebody to fall sideways against somebody else's knee.
Yeah, I'm trying to what would be the you think a tournament, but I'm thinking like, okay, I could maybe buy into a tournament again. What if it's just ultimately all on Dynamite? You have a tournament on Dynamite to do on one episode.
And here's the deal: it's you take the 4 guys with the best records in AEW, yes. So it's a 4-man tournament.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, that makes it simple, easy to follow. It's not all that crazy. It's like this massive 2-sided tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's to me that's the best option. But
yeah,
it's too late, Dom. They're doing a battle royal. It's gonna
suck. The wheels are in motion. Marcus, if you had to pick like an out of nowhere star to win this battle royal, who would you go with?
An out of nowhere star.
So like, say you're gonna be like Tony Khan and AEW, or just like we want to put our chips behind this guy. This is an opportunity. This like kind of what I'm saying is like this opens a door for somebody to make the most of. Who would you go with?
6 months ago, I would have said Jungle Boy, but it's I don't know if that's really a feasible thing anymore. Maybe Christian.
You would go Christian. I would. Yeah. I think I'm more in the lines of Jungle Boy, honestly.
Oh, Nesha's saying Wardlow, which on paper makes sense. He's been dominant. Dom, imagine a main event with Wardlow against Jon Moxley.
That would be good. I think they've been pushing Wardlow so much that I don't think it would benefit him right now to get in that position because, we want to see the thrill of the chase for Wardlow. If you're putting him right in the mix of that, you're kind of taking that away and almost, I don't want to say cheapening his run, but like fast tracking his run.
Dom, to you, is Wardlow I'm honestly curious about your opinion here. Is Wardlow a Goldberg ripoff in your opinion?
No.
I think in the comments, guys.
Okay, here's something that, so I think not whatsoever do I think he's a Goldberg ripoff. I think there's a lot of there's those Goldberg talents that you can have and that come across like Nikita Koloff and who else is that has kind of been on that, like almost we made the comparisons with Jade to a Goldberg, like her being on her run and stuff like that. Wardlow is not a Goldberg ripoff. He's something that Goldberg had that organic connection with to the fans. Wardlow also has that. And I think he's just a dominant, badass force that people like and get behind it. And I tell you what, for Wardlow, like what he has is a presence. Like that one promo where he didn't do a promo where was MJF talking to him, and all he did was facials and stuff like that, and his hands were cuffed. I thought it was great. He conveyed a lot to me. So no, I do not think he's a Goldberg ripoff. I just think he's akin to the Goldberg line of things with the Nikita Koloff and those big heater kind of guy, I
don't think it's a stretch to compare him to Goldberg.
No, not at all. But I don't think it's a wrong thing either.
Especially with like the aesthetic value of like, I know that it's like involuntary. He's got security coming to the ring with him, but still, it's like it's that visual of like, hey, this guy's so dangerous. He's got to be surrounded by all these dudes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's not exactly apples and oranges if you make that comparison. Dom, the Miguel says, imagine Kip Sabian coming back and winning. Kip Sabian was fucking jacked in that photo. Did you see that picture?
I didn't see that photo. No.
So he's put on a lot of muscle.
Oh wow. Okay, I'll have to look at it.
Well, look, it's as we're doing this, it also occurred to me. I honestly, the best choice in my mind is Miro.
You think? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I would love to see Miro go through this tournament, kind of dominate everybody, can stay on a tour of domination, maybe even give Wardlow his first L here since this run began of his, um, all in the name of this eventual clash between him and CM Junk.
Well, here's a question that's a little off the rails, but Todd Martin from the PW Torch tweeted out something that I thought was kind of interesting. Is like you have these matches with these people, and whether they're tournaments or anything else, there's a certain hierarchy that's really been defined in AEW where it's like a lot of people are protected, and people don't straight up a star doesn't straight up lose to a star a lot of times. Something happens and something goes like something kind of mixes up with it and it doesn't. And then there's that clear lineage of like who's different and who is not there, and in a way that's kind of detrimental because you want these stars to be other stars to make the more stars. So do you kind of get what he's saying there? Do you see that and do you agree with that?
And I think it goes back to what you and I have been talking about, which is like, so you bring in all this top level talent, which on paper is great. Hey, it's these guys are all big names, or these guys are very talented humans. Let's bring them into the company. But then the situation you wind up in is, okay, I've only got so many quarter hours, and I need to feature all these guys that I've brought in. So like on paper, you and I have been saying, let's trim the fat. Then if you're going to bring in all these people, let's get get rid of some of the lesser used talents on the roster. But here's the issue, Dom, is eventually you're going to get down to a situation where it's like you've got all these guys that are like at a John Moxley level, at an Adam Cole level, at a Keith Lee level. So you've got all these people, and it's like, okay, well, who goes over in any match now?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So really, that's kind of what he's working against.
It's a tough situation here, and
that's why enhancement talents were such a big thing back in the day. By the way, in both like JCP and 80s WWE, where you bring in these enhancement talents and they do the job for the stars on TV, so that by the time you get to the pay-per-view, it's like, hey, both these guys have looked dominant on the way to facing each other. Who goes over?
Yeah. No, it's there certainly needs to be like just more of I want to say defined because they are defining it in a certain way, but it's all like kind of expected kind of things that are happening. And stars are not beating stars when it comes down to it in a lot of ways. It's like, okay, everybody is protected, but you really can't protect everybody. You got to have confidence in your ability to build that person back and everything like that. Like people were making a stink about Darby Allin losing to Kyle O'Reilly at Double or Nothing. But I think it made sense in a way that Kyle O'Reilly needed a win. Okay. He's been a scrapper. He's been a good wrestler and everything like that. But you have not really defined him as somebody too much. Whereas Darby, you've built, you've pushed, you've like done everything you can to make him the big star that he is going to be, I still think. And like, I think he could afford to lose. It was fine. I thought it was okay. So, I mean, I think in that regard, they were doing something. But yeah, Marcus, I think with this tournament, with everything like that, I think people will get behind Moxley. I think they would. But it's something that we've seen already. So it's like, I would not be against some guy coming out of nowhere and winning the whole goddamn thing. Or you have, pardon my French, or you have like, who was I going to think too? As a baby face, somebody that you really want to root for is Eddie Kingston too. Imagine him coming out and winning the whole fucking thing. And then going to Forbidden Door and facing Tanahashi or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of interesting combos. Imagine it coming down to, Eddie Kingston and Miro and even the Battle Royal. That would be fascinating.
That'd be awesome. Awesome. And like you could tell a great story like that, where and you know what? I don't know how many people are in this Battle Royal, but I think it would make a lot more sense if you just had like 10 people instead of like 20.
But it should be.
Yeah.
After a while, it gets really hard to focus.
Or,
dude.
Man, Marcus, how about this? Like, why wouldn't you have like a 6-man scramble? And even that's a little confusing, but at least you can eliminate people. Like, it's by pin or submission, and you have 6 people go at it, or 4-way, a fatal 4-way where you eliminate people.
I would be more game for almost like a War Games type thing, except like nobody's on a team, but it's War Games as in like, there's a timer and everybody's inside the cage and like, a new person enters. And then when the timer goes off, another person enters, and then it's like, it's elimination style, much like Elimination Chamber. Really, to me, that would be a fun way to go about it.
I think you're on the right track with that. I think, but yeah, like you said, we're not going to get that. We're getting a battle royal, so I mean,
we're fucked. Dominic, Adam Page, what's next?
Who?
Right.
I think
that's a hard question.
I think. I don't want to say he's got to go away for a little bit, but maybe for a little bit, and then you bring him back. I don't think he's hurt in any way. I think, he had his run, and you can tell a story later on with that. I would still keep him in a big program, trying to think like who immediately comes to mind. Like since we've been talking about Miro, I think like, oh man, imagine him feuding with Miro and stuff like that. And like, you could tell a story there where Page is like looking to come back on the track, but Miro does him dirty, fucking puts him on the shelf longer. And then you get Miro over even further.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then you have a reason to have Page go away for a little bit and then come back, as a fresh guy ready to take on the world again.
Was it too soon to put the belt on Page now that the experiment is over?
That's a good question. I don't think it was. I think it was what you want to do if you're a new company.
I think it was too soon.
Yeah.
I think it was too soon. I think that he had this organic fan following, but if you remember back in another Page, Dom, back in like '97, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page was red hot. But I think that people may have spit him out as champion at that point. He just needed to continue that run, continue the chase to really get himself over on national TV. I would have liked to have seen like more of a year-long chase, some high-profile feuds, which Page comes out on top of. And then, by the end of it, once people are really rallied around him and it's like this fever pitch, like, hey, this is our guy, it came up organically. Then I think is when you put the title on.
Again, I think it falls into the fact that, not enough TV time for Hangman, your champion, and not positioned in the right light in a lot of ways sometimes.
Maybe the most forgettable champion I've seen in wrestling, and that's not a knock on Page. I think he's great. It's really just a knock on like he wasn't shown often enough, and he wasn't in interesting storylines enough for me to every time Dynamite came on, I'm not thinking about him.
Yeah, that was something you were talking about throughout the course of his run. Is like, and you have a point too, because it's like you were tuning in for. I mean, this is a good segue, but you were tuning in for CM Punk. You eventually were tuning in for Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega to an extent. And then, he was gone by that point. But, and then, hey, MJF. So let's segue into that, Marcus.
Let's segue.
Boy, what a whirlwind of rumors, innuendo, and speculation, as well as, is it a work? Is it not a work? Marcus. This was a crazy week for MJF, for pro wrestling, very Pillman-esque in the modern era. And we had MJF come and drop his own pipe bomb promo on Dynamite that was very scathing, reportedly not supposed to be as long as it was, but it went 9 minutes. And MJF said a lot in that promo. Marcus, what'd you overall think of the promo? And then you can even touch upon the whole Double or Nothing controversy, if that's what you want to do.
Well, let's start with Double or Nothing. I think that was a shoot where I think that probably there was some frustration mounting on both sides, and MJF was like, "Well, I'm not doing this." So that's my guess. I don't have any sources on that. I'm just guessing. I think that he and Tony Khan in between then and Dynamite worked it out, had a conversation, and Tony Khan said, "Let's swerve him, bro," and sent him out for a worked shoot promo. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are saying, is it a work? Is it a shoot? That promo that he did? I think it's a work shoot.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a shoot in that maybe some of the things that he's saying are the way he actually feels, but it's a work in that he probably discussed all of it with Tony Khan beforehand.
Yeah, I think a lot of that in a way too is I think you're on the right track with that. I think I think there was a lot of legitimacy to what's happened and what went down. But when you get to the point of, him, I think it was always going to be his intention to. I don't think he would have done Wardlow dirty and not showing up to Double or Nothing. I think he would have done the favors for him either way. So I don't think that was even on the card of him not showing up at Double or Nothing. And I think there was reports even that somebody connected to the situation confirmed to one of the sites, either Fightful or The Observer, that they knew that MJF was going to be showing up by Saturday night. So, like the night before the show happened. So, I mean, I think it was like he's always going to do the favors for Wardlow because MJF is a pro in that regard, and like he's a good dude in that regard where he looks out for other people in that, and so I don't think that was in the cards. But yeah, I think to that point, yeah, it was a work to shoot later on here, and I think them removing him from everything, from the roster page to the MLW shop, not MLW, to the to the AEW shop, to what else do they do? Not sending photos out of them or not posting them on YouTube. All that's part of the game at this point.
Right. And let's not forget that, if it were a shoot where MJF got out there on the mic and just started saying whatever he wanted to without having told Tony Khan about it beforehand, it would have been cut off way sooner.
Yeah.
They would have gone to commercial. So yes, it's a work.
Yeah. It's fascinating though. I tell you that much. Holy smokes. What a time to cover all this, huh?
I think that Tony Khan heard all that stuff about is Cody a work or a shoot? This whole is Cody leaving? Is that a work or a shoot? And even I was saying no, it's a work. I think he heard all that. He was like, man, I should have worked it.
Yeah.
And so now he's got an opportunity with MJF where he's like, well, I'm working this.
Why not, man? It's fun to blur the lines. Like it's very hard to blur the lines nowadays. Right. And this is one of the situations where you can really do it. And it's been fun to do. It's been a lot of fun to just cover and be a part of it. As far as anything else goes, Marcus, what really stood out to you on Dynamite overall? Besides the obvious.
What was the main event again?
See, that's the tough thing. It was. Help me out here.
I don't know.
I'm trying to help you out.
I'm asking you.
You're asking me. It was. Daniel Garcia and Jon Moxley.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I think that the Blackpool. I almost said Liverpool. The Blackpool Combat Club. I think that they're becoming one of the most interesting parts of Dynamite slowly. I'm losing interest in the Jericho deal. I had very little in the first place, but just slowly declining in interest for me. I don't know. It's like it just feels weird. It feels unnatural, doesn't it?
No, I think, see, at first I thought it kind of felt unnatural, but I think they're really finding their groove in regards to being a faction again. And like what Jericho's intention was for it. When I saw the Double or Nothing match, the Anarchy in the Arena match, it was fucking great to see live. Like them just playing Wild Thing, like over, like they're fighting, they're just fighting, just complete and utter chaos in the crowd and everything. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I think them coming out in like those white Kangol hats and the fucking like white vest and all that stuff, looking like some weird Warriors group, I thought was very, very good and contrasting to what the Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston were wearing, and Santana Ortiz. So I think they're starting to find the groove, to be honest. And I think it's kind of intriguing to have like a classic wrestling kind of stipulation of hair versus hair coming up with Ortiz and Jericho. I don't know. I'm kind of buying into that more than you are at this point. And, I was kind of like at first, I don't know, but now I'm riding the wave, man. I'm riding the wave.
I mean, there's no way that Jericho doesn't lose his hair there, right?
I think Jericho's going to lose his hair. Yeah.
Yes. As hair versus hair matches come up, I think ordinarily because somebody's ready for a new look. And I would guess that that's the case with Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about too. And the scrum was a big topic when Jericho came out, was him reinventing himself and going to different things. And he had one look as one of the members of as the leader of the Inner Circle. Why not have a new look going into this Jericho Appreciation Society?
As a wizard, Dom.
As a wizard. As a wizard.
What if he really leaned into the wizard thing and he started he grew like a really long beard? And he actually won the match, so he got to keep his long hair like Gandalf, and he wore like the fucking hat. He comes out in like a wizard robe with like the long sleeves.
Takes it off. It's like very Undertaker-esque, sports entertainer-esque.
I'm kind of for this version of Jericho.
grow his fingernails really long.
Yes, Wizard Jericho. He comes out with like a crystal ball.
Yeah, that's what he should do. He should hit people with a crystal ball. Fucking yes.
Why hasn't there been a wizard in wrestling yet, Dom?
Well, there was Oz, the great and powerful.
He wasn't a wizard though. They didn't call him a wizard. He was just Oz, which is in theory a geographical location.
I guess that's a fair point. He had the face of a wizard on.
Right. So he took the face off of the Wizard of Oz.
Paper machete face.
Right. Boy, what a shit gimmick.
Imagine I think
a big piece of me was hoping that he was going to be the exalted one whenever they were doing that whole thing. Yeah, but as Oz.
As Oz? Wow, could you imagine that?
Boy, with the pop, Dom.
Could you imagine Nash just being in AEW in general? I know we've talked about this before, but
he would level them up big time.
Man, you just put him on there as somebody. I think you could make it really work.
I mean, you saw what he did with the X Division and TNA back in the day with like the funny shit. That would be one way to make the Dark Order something really amusing.
Yeah, like he did with the X Division, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Literally just said that, Dom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Literally just said those words.
Oh, well, I think that would be cool. Get Kevin Nash in there with the Dark Order. Hey, man, it's pretty dark over here.
I think it could be a lot of fun.
I think you can make it work. All right, Marcus, I do have to get going, sadly.
Oh, boy. See, here I was, Dom. I'm ready to talk for 8 hours.
8 whole hours. Wow. Well, Marcus, why don't you stick around?
Boy, have I got material, Dom.
Yeah?
Boy, have I got material. No, it's all right. We'll pick it up next week.
We will pick it up next week. But yes, folks, fear not. I am just a mercenary now, but I am still here on WrestleZone once a week for 2 Dynamite Dudes. Marcus, what's going on over there on ad-free shows?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, Dom. Lots of great stuff going on. Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be joining us a week from tomorrow.
Ooh.
So 1 week from tomorrow, old Jake the Snake is coming on to adfreeshows.com. He's going to be talking to Top Guy members over there. If you're a Jake the Snake fan, this is an exclusive interactive experience that you get to have with the legendary Jake the Snake. Dominic Nate Johnson makes a great point down there. Nash could also do amazing as the bodyguard of Hook.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Nash and Hookhausen.
Boy, I don't know about Hookhausen with Nash, but who knows? Nash could make it work.
Nash could make it work. Absolutely, he could.
Dominic, have you heard if the Ric Flair action figures have sold out?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either. Let's check it out. Everybody collectively go check it out. So Dominic and I are going to be at StarCast here at the end of July. It's Ric Flair's final match put on by the good folks at StarCast and my company at freeshows.com. And so it's Ric Flair's final match, and what they did, Dominic, was they made a Ric Flair action figure, courtesy of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, guys. It's a Major Bendy of Ric Flair, one of only 1,000. Only 1,000 of these made from Ric Flair's final match. It's the first licensed JCP action figure ever made. It is something to behold, Dominic. So yeah, if you're an action figure collector, you better run over to starcast.com and go ahead and check out the merch. And if there's a Ric Flair action figure left, they might be out by now. But if there's any left, scoop one up, because let me tell you, you stick this thing into a damn safe for a couple of years and it's going to be worth a fortune.
Well, Mark, I mean, that's some other news too, is, hey, your boy Arn, he got the rights to the Four Horsemen trademark.
Enforcer, Dom. Yes.
Man.
Enforcer. So yeah, we have the rights to the Four Horsemen. So we're getting some more Four Horsemen merch coming out here soon, courtesy of boxofgimmicks.com. Go check that shit out. And yeah, man, things are going great. If you're not a member, just give it a try. Go to adfreetrial.com and enjoy it. Mick Foley just started a podcast on Podcast Heat and drops early on ad free.
That's right.
I mean, William Regal, he started a new podcast.
And I tell you what, if you want to sit down and get an education, you listen to William Regal's podcast, The Gentleman Villain. Whoo, that man can drop some insight and has great perspective for wrestlers, aspiring wrestlers. And he's just fun to listen to. He's like, I compared it to like watching an episode of Better Call Saul, where it's like, it's very paced out, but then he hits a crescendo and incites his wisdom on you. And then also on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, he had Gangrel on there as a special guest. Fucking cool. Gangrel's awesome and very funny, very nice dude. They talk a lot about just the Brood and like that whole relationship, his relationship with Luna, his one incident he had in Pittsburgh, Marcus, with Michael P.S. Hayes. What else is there? Oh, they talked just entrance music. But Brood was, I think you could always bring Brood back. I want a new Brood cooking.
That was a badass faction.
Oh my god!
And their music, holy shit!
I know. I listened to it like 3 times a day.
It's a banger of a song.
Walking around, listening to the Brood music.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It is a good song. But check that out. Hey, check me over at Wrestling Inc. I'll be covering NXT tonight. And yes, I do the ad-free shows This Day in History. And I also work for MLW.com doing social media stuff. So just hit all those stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me and all that malarkey. Marcus, it's been been short, but it's been fun. We will get back to it, back in the groove next week here on what, Marcus?
Short but sweet. 2 Dynamite Dudes right here on WrestleZone.
Yep.
I think, right? Yes.
Yeah, yes, we're here. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Adios, guys.